You have to record.
Yes.
Just reminding you.
Namaskar, everyone. Namaste.
Respect.
Here we meet again on the auspicious day of International Day of Yoga. We have many occasions to celebrate today. We have the summer solstice that's beginning today. We have Father's Day. We have World Music Day.
Yes.
I know Dr. Manjari Gokhale, our guest, is a musician also. So it's very exciting to have our special guest today. I'm going to share a few slides about our organization and about our guest, and then we will proceed and we'll learn about today's session. Some of you know that I have founded Vish Koranne Foundation in the memory of my parents, Vishnu and Shashikala Koranne, and it's a non-profit that I established in 2016, and we have been doing lots of charitable work, through which I have also started this series called Heal with Hira, because we in the current times are facing the pandemic of coronavirus, and so many other issues are happening and we are not able to connect with anyone, and this is a great way to reach out to the community. What does our foundation do? We have many objectives. We promote the culture of India. We organize lectures and demos, organize fundraisers for the needy, provide scholarships, promote alternate therapies of yoga, Ayurveda, and plant based living. As I already mentioned, we are having this special session because today is the International Day of Yoga. It's the 6th year that we are celebrating this. Our special guest today is coming to us all the way from Mumbai, India, Dr. Manjari Gokhale. And she has a PhD. She founded the Samvad Center for Healing, Consulting, Training and Research. And here's their website, www.samvad.org, and email is there, and their phone number is also listed. Today's topic is how to use pranayam, which are the breathing exercises. Prana means the life force, and yama means to control. She will be talking to us about the breath and how powerful it is for healing purposes, and a special topic that she will discuss today is called Swara Yoga, and all these are healing tools, and she will teach us today how to use them to our advantage. These are the special things and services that the center offers: past life regressions, breathwork, yoga, voice culture, Reiki, and music. Here are the things that Dr. Manjari specializes in. We already have talked about some of the things: healing relationships, sound mantra, Omkar therapy, healing Pitru doshas, curses, spirit attachments, activating third eye abilities. There are workshops for children that she offers, healing infertility and Garbha Sanskar, healing addiction, and much, much more. Here are all the numbers listed, and you can also visit the samvad.org, their website, to learn more about their services offered. I have myself taken some workshops at the center, and currently I'm taking spoken Sanskrit classes that the Samvad Center is offering. So now I'm going to turn over the session to Dr. Manjari Gokhale.
Yes.
Dr. Manjari, thank you so much for being part of this healing series on this auspicious day. Thank you for making time to share your valuable information and your wisdom. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Hira, on the onset itself, because this is a great opportunity I'm getting to speak so much with everybody globally at a time. So this is a wonderful opportunity you have given me, and I've been taking these workshops since long, but maybe I'm talking about breath for the first time on internet, okay, through online series. So just excuse me if I make some few mistakes while speaking or something like that. Just excuse me for that because I'm not so used to talking on internet directly. But I know uh, Adinatha. We are talking about Adinatha about breath. So he will help me. He will guide me in doing this. So let's
Definitely, it will be a
yeah.
great session.
Yes. So we'll start today being the International Yoga Day and Music Day, of course. So we'll begin with the shloka of Rig Veda, which is being prescribed for International Yoga Day. Those who know it can sing along with me. Sangachadvam संवदध्वं संवो मनासि जानता देवा भागं यथा पूर्वे संजानाना उपासते समानीव आकुति समाना हृदयानिव समानमस्तु वो मनो यथावतु सहासति संगच्छध्वं संवदध्वं संवो मनासि जानता. Hari Om. Let us pray to the God of breath, Lord Hanuman, and the most greatest God of breath, Adinatha, Shankar, Bhagwan Shankar, and let us take the guidance from both of them to help us understand about breath. To begin with, let me tell you a few things which you can expect from me in this lecture. I am not a Pandit or so, a learned person or so, who has learned many Vedas, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, and all that stuff. I am just a sadhak, a very sincere sadhak right from my childhood. And I have learned everything through the sadhana. Like a bhakti yoga concept that we keep on doing meditation, we keep on, and the knowledge is directly downloaded. And then I search for the shastras in the texts. Okay, so I'm not so much acquainted with the shastras, the sciences in the texts. But what I'm going to speak about today, about breath, about Swara Yoga or breath work, pranayama, is from my own understanding. So I can say it is about 20 to 20% of textual knowledge, and about 75 to 80% of my own understanding, own experience. So surely it will be something different from what always others have told, or you can Google and find. So whatever I'm going to say, sorry, you may not get it on Google. So if you have any questions, you'll have to ask me directly, which I can explain it to you. Through Google, you may not get the answers. Okay? So let us start with what is breath. We know we are daily breathing 24/7. So everybody feels that we know everything about breath because we are breathing. But it's not so. We hardly know anything about breath because breath is our very much involuntary action. We are not aware of breath. And whatever we are going to learn is becoming aware of the breath. So breath is the tangible, uh, what to say, side of prana. prana is there everywhere in the world. The chi force, the life force, the world of vibrations, everywhere, but we are unaware of all those vibrations. Like we are unaware that the earth is moving, revolving, it is revolving around the sun. We are unaware of these uh, movements. Huh? But actually, these movements are going on. So if we start learning, then we start understanding. We have to expand our learning concepts, expand the subtle levels of learning, expand our consciousness of senses, awareness of senses to the level of subtle, subtle levels. So that is how we start understanding about breath. The normal anatomy and physiology, which talks about our respiratory system and all that, is taught in our science books. I'm not going to talk about that. But surely something, breath is beyond that. So breath is the prana, the life force, the tangible life force. And breath is also apana. Because there is in breath, which is the prana, and there is out breath, which is death. So the cycle of life and death, usually we feel that our life and death begins at when we are born, and when we leave this body, that is the death. No. Every day, every second of our life, we are living and dying, living and dying. This movement of life and death goes throughout our life. But being the gap being so small, we are not able to understand that every time we are dying. Okay, and so death is there with us continuously throughout our life, and that's why we are afraid of death. Because after breathing out, if we are not able to breathe in, that means that is the last breath, right? So every time we are afraid of death. Why? Everybody on the earth, okay, is afraid of death. That is the basic fear all humans, all animals have of death. Why? Because we never know if we breathe out and we are not able to breathe in again. So that question mark continuously remains. Okay. So this is about breath, and we carry it. Even if very very good yogis and all, some maybe very much advanced yogis can be aware of when their last breath will be, but usually sadhaks like us are not aware of when our last breath will be. So that is always a mystery in our life, and that's why the thrill, the throbbing keeps on being there throughout the life. We don't know what will happen the next second. And so that is about breath. And that is why everybody is so much forced to learn about breath, but we learn about the physical side of it. Hardly we learn about the non-physical side of it, the sukshma side of it. We usually start with pranayama, today being the yoga day. Much will be talked about pranayama all over the day. So you can Google and find out many things. But pranayama is not the only way. That is one of the ways. Then what is breath again? It is a two-edged knife. Like life and death, like breath can create wonders, good wonders. It can create bad wonders also. It can just create a hell for you also. Wrong breathing can create hell. Why we have to learn to breathe rightly? Because wrong breathing can destroy your life, can destroy your happiness. Right breathing will help you to become more and more happy. Breath can transform, create, and heal all illnesses. It is possible to heal illnesses with breath. That is what we do in our institution. I've learned this breathing techniques from Dr. Newton and Prem Nirmal from Thane. And I'm happy to tell everybody that from the day I've learned it, I've been practicing it till today. So it's more than 14 years I've been practicing this. It's in a systematic way, but right from my childhood, I've been practicing this because my father, Swami Anand Rishi, he had taught us in the playful way, like children should be taught that how right breathing is important and all that. He had taught us in a very playful way. So we have been learning this, but we came to know about its seriousness, I can say, just 14, 15 years back, that it is very important to understand. So altered patterns of breath can change our physical and emotional patterns, thoughts, and vice versa. So when our emotions change, it's vice versa, right? So usually what happens, we are not aware of our breath. So when our emotions change, our breath changes. But can we handle our emotions through breath? Yes, of course. If we change our breathing patterns, and once we know the right way for the right emotion, right way of breathing for the right emotion, we can handle our life very easily. We can handle our emotions, we can handle our thoughts. But we have to first learn what is our pattern of emotions and uh, relation of our emotions and breath, thoughts and breath, illnesses and breath. We have to learn the subtle aspects of it, and then we'll be able to handle it. Bharatnaट्य Shastra, yes.
So I was just wondering what type of pranayams you do. You do the conventional ways of pranayam, such as Bhastrika and Kapalbhati and Ujjayi and things like that, or you have new techniques. You have different techniques.
We have different techniques. I have learned a few. I've learned pranayama also. I've learned Kriya Yoga. I've learned Swara Yoga. So we use all these techniques and breath work, rebirthing breath work, what we call as. So we use these techniques, uh, but we can use this for healing. We can use this for our daily management of life. We can use this for healing depressions, and we get wonderful results with breathwork healing through depression, for healing depressions, like suicidal tendencies and all. Just they go away. Fears, we can handle fears with breath. And rebirthing breathwork is a wonderful tool for such healings. And Swara Yoga is the technique where it's a quite a slow technique of learning a language. Like we are both of us are learning Sanskrit now, right? So it is a very slow process. Learning of a language is a very slow process because we don't devote our 24 hours into that language, right? So it takes a long time to learn a language. So approximately, masters have told that it takes around 12 years, 12 years to learn that language. After learning the basics of that language, then we can actually start handling it. Okay. So this is what I was also telling in Bharatnaट्य Shastra, which is about dramatics and music and everything, uh, which is supposed to be written by Nataraja himself, Lord Adinatha himself. So he has given wonderful uh, correlations of breath and emotions. He has given wonderful with speed the sound should come, with speed your body movements will be there. Abhinaya, the whole body, the verbal and non-verbal communication we do uh, with the emotion, with the age. Everything is given in that book, but people are not aware. They use it as dramatics, okay? It is about life actually. So once we understand that this type of breath will create something like I'm a old age person. So if my voice is going that way, can I correct through voice or through posture? Yes. The Hatha Yoga practices talk about correcting yourself through postures. Okay. You use a posture which will give you strength and your breath will change automatically. So first we do asanas, then we do pranayama. Once you have gained enough strength about in your breath, now you can do pranayama. You can actually increase the strength of the breath. First you change the pattern, then you increase the strength of that same pattern. The good pattern which you have created, then you increase the strength of that good pattern. So first do some asanas, active active exercises, then go to pranayama shift. to the subtler level. Okay, the prana is the subtler level of this physical body, because now Einstein has given such a wonderful theory, and we have started believing in that theory, everybody, because we actually don't know about it. We have to believe in it. So E is equal to mc square. Energy is matter, matter is energy, or we can say there is nothing called as matter, everything is energy. But tangible is matter. Okay, we cannot uh, energy is intangible, we cannot understand the concepts of energy. So we have to go through the body, through this physical body, to the subtler levels, and always keep one part of you tied to the physical body. That is why pranayam with some asanas, you have to have uh, dhyanatmak asanas, meditative asanas. Asanas means some postures. If you are fixed in that body posture, it becomes easy to go to that level. Like if we are climbing some stairs, there's always some grounding happening in the Muladhara chakra. In the basic chakras, the grounding has to be there. Only then, if you climb up, then it will be a successful climb. Like supposing I go in an aeroplane and all of a sudden the links are broken to the ground, that airplane is sure to be crashed, right? So the grounding is very important, and that is why asanas are very important. Good postures are important. Steady postures are important, because we have to be continuously connected with the ground, because that is what is tangible to us. For the normal mind, or we have to work through this. This is the car, and the driver is the atma, and so the atma is driving through this body. We have to reach somewhere. This is just a vehicle we are using, but we have to be continuously in that vehicle to go somewhere. We cannot disconnect ourselves from that vehicle. So all the healing part we do with breath is through this vehicle. Whatever is has to be changed inside the body. We cannot go outside and look for something else. Means I have to change my relations. Can I change my relations through breath? Yes and no, both. You can't do anything about the other. Like whatever happened just now. Okay, let me give that example. Everybody goes through these examples. What happens? Just now we were connecting to Facebook. It took some time. It was not in our hands to connect to Facebook. Okay, if the internet fails, it fails. We cannot do anything about. Okay, that is called as Adi Bhautik problems. Okay, it is not in our hands. We cannot do anything about it. Then what can we do? We can change our methods of interaction. Then we look out, oh, have I missed out some points? Have I done this properly? Have I done this? Then we come to that. And then coming to the subtler points, okay, then we take a, oh my God, what has happened? We take a long breath. Okay, that means we ground ourselves. When the grounding is lost, the internet connections go away. Okay, we know that. Okay, so we ground ourselves, and all of a sudden, everything starts working on its own. In a way, we have not done anything to the internet, but we ground ourselves. See, I am the grounding. I have connected. I want to speak through the Facebook. So I am the ground. The Facebook is the subtler level of my speech. That is the extension where I am speaking to the people whom I am speaking to, who are listening, or maybe who will listen in future. Okay, and so this, if this connection goes away, Facebook connection goes away. If I am not interested, all of a sudden the Facebook connection will go away. There'll be problems in internet. There'll be problems in this, and everybody of us has gone through these, but we have never looked back and seen what is our mindset at that time. That is what we talk. We start understanding in Swara Yoga practice. Okay. So I was talking about what is breath. So the physical energy of breath is just 5% or 10% maybe, and of the total energy a breath contains. But we have to start with the physical side because that is only tangible. Breath is a constant companion from birth to death. Breath is the link between body, emotions, mind, intellect, and soul, because breath is omnipresent. It is present everywhere at a time. So that is the link. It is in the vibrations. Breath is there in vibrations. In ancient Indian text, we have called as Nada, Brahma. Nada Brahma means the universe of vibrations, and that vibrations we call it as breath. Different people have named it differently, but breath is something. Nada, it's difficult to understand Nada, but breath is easy to understand. So everybody, practically every yogi, every saint has worked through breath. Okay, because breath is the most tangible element in this sadhana, in spiritual sadhana.
In musical terms, we consider nad as a musical sound, correct?
Yes,
When we
yes.
talk about music.
But the wider concept of it is any sound. The musical term Nad is the musical sound. But when we think holistically as a universe, it is what is the way? What we say? It is Dvaita, no? Left and right, yin and yang. So both are necessary.
Yeah, duality.
Even the non-musical sounds are necessary for the musical sounds to show up that these are the good ones, these are the bad ones. So everything is necessary as a part of universe. Everything is necessary. But when they are in harmony, like the non-musical sounds have to be silent. Their work is to be silent, and musical sounds have to be loud. When the non-musical sounds start, then that is the Danavas, the demons coming up. But demons have to be grounded because that is the energy. That is the energy. But energy has to be grounded continuously. It should never come up from the earth. We have to be continuously grounded. All the main staff has to go be grounded. They cannot fly. All the really good staff has to be continuously grounded. They cannot fly. They should not fly. And if they start flying up, who will be doing the groundwork? Because they are the engineers of the grounding work. But they have to remain grounded. That is the ahankar we talk about. Okay, we can through breath we can handle the ahankar. Through breath we can ahankar is the I consciousness. Through breath we can handle the mind, the most subtle thing, which is very much always what to say on its move. It never stays in one place. And the buddhi, the intelligence, we can handle intelligence with breath. I'm very happy to say that through breath work, although we have not tested anybody or something like that, okay, but through breath work, we have seen people increasing their IQ. IQ is not tested, but all of a sudden, through breath work, the children start becoming what we say as they start gaining better marks all of a sudden. 2 or 3 breathwork sessions, and the a child or a person who was failing continuously all of a sudden starts excelling in some few things. Okay, so it can work on intelligence also, breath, because
Because
it can.
increasing your focus and your concentration, and your one pointed energies are going into one pointedness.
Yes. The how it works is this is the way it is taught in yoga. Okay, but when we go to the Swara Yoga level, okay, where we talk about the 5 elements in pranayam, in the typical Hatha Yoga practices, we don't talk about Pancha Mahabhutas and all that. During pranayam, we don't expect people to do pranayam with the Mahabhutas and all that. The 5 elements, the fire, air, water, earth, these elements, okay? But in Swara Yoga, we expect that language to be written in our daily practices, to be understood in our daily practices. Then we start understanding that why the intelligence, where the intelligence goes wrong, which is the element which is not working. Then we start working on that element, and then things start uh, healing automatically. Okay, pranayam is just more a physical concept. The the pranic body concept, we are increasing the strength of the pranic body. Because I always say the pranic body is like a buffer between the emotional and mind body and the physical body. So if the pranic body is very strong, emotions will not affect the physical body. Emotions will not affect your actions. But if your pranic body is not strong, immediately somebody hurts you, then you'll start crying. If somebody somebody acts bad with you, abuses you, you'll go angry. All of a sudden, you cannot control yourself. So actually, pranayam is necessary because first we have to learn to control. Because all of a sudden the anger is not going to go away. All of a sudden that crying and that rona dhona is not going to go away. All of a sudden it will not grow. We have to give it time to grow, to subside. So, but for that we need a healthy pranic body. So pranayam works maximum on the pranic body. Whereas when I'm talking about breath work, let's switch on to the breath work. So pranayam is we through breathing, changing our breathing in and out patterns. Hatha Yoga gives 6 types of pranayams, but many other texts give many other types of pranayams. Like Kriya Yoga has ample Sudarshan Kriya, and then I won't talk about the Kriyas. There are ample Kriya Yogis who give different types of Kriyas, and those are intensive methods of pranayam. Those are pranayama methods only, but they are different than Hatha Yoga practices. And they help in clearing, making our vital body, the pranic body, very strong. The basic intention of pranayama is that. Then in Kriya Yoga, it is like a tapa also, right? So in Kriya Yoga, when we say it is intense pranayama, that means we are expected that the prana goes beyond the pranic body, and it goes to the mind, it goes to the intellect, and it has to change the intellect, it has to change the emotions, it has to transform it to better patterns. So in Kriya Yoga, it is supposed to reach even those levels. So there are techniques, and we have to follow a lot of do's and don'ts for that, because the way we do it is very much like a Guru Shishya Parampara. We have to do it with the Guru, because it is intense. So if it can heal intensely, very quickly, magically, then if some small mistake also and you'll fall, you'll create hazard for yourself, and it may take 2, 3, 4 lifetimes to clear up that rubbish we have created just because of one small mistake. Like accidents happen, it's just a split second of mistake, and fatal accidents happen just by just one small mistake, unawareness. So that's why it is always better to do it through with a person or in a group, so that we get the necessary energy, and nothing wrong happens otherwise.
I
So
wanted to
Kriya, yeah.
I want to just have a comment. I wanted to comment on just the general pranayams that are out there, such as Bhastrika and Kapalbhati, Anulom Vilom. Even those pranayams, they heal the chronic conditions. They have been known to heal many, many chronic conditions. But of course, you have to dedicate yourself, like you do 1 hour, 2 hours of pranayam every day if you have
Yes.
any chronic conditions, but you can heal them. Would you like to address a little bit, address this issue?
Yes, I won't. I'm going against a few people, what people think, okay? But it is my own experience I'm talking about. Uh, Through pranayam, surely, as I told, as you have said, that we have seen people curing illnesses through pranayam. I have seen many people, their illnesses are being cured through pranayam. So what happens in pranayam, as I told you, pranayam affects the vital body. The vital body is in between the physical and the mental body. The mental body contains the emotions which are nearer to the physical body, which affect the physical body directly. And pranayam is the buffer system, the air element, the air sacs in between. If they are wonderful, then the emotions stop working on the physical body. Directly, the intellect works on the physical body. A bypass of emotions and mental problems are created through pranayama. A bypass is created. The intellect, the lower intellect, the knowledge starts working on the body directly. But that doesn't mean all the problems in the mind have gone away. Usually, physical illnesses get cured because, see, the physical body is being fed by emotions and the illness never goes away. The stresses remain in the body. But if the pranic body, a buffer system is created, and I stop giving any food to the physical body, wrong food, poisons to the physical body, stop giving them, then automatically the illness are going to be cured. Naturally, the illnesses will get cured very, very beautifully. So it surely works. But that doesn't mean that the anger has gone away. That doesn't mean that the depression has gone away. We are learning to handle it rightly for life so that we can live beautifully. That doesn't mean it has gone away. But now, in our daily routine, it stops working. So we have heard many stories like of sadhus and rishis that if you disturb their meditations, they give curses. Now what happens? Because they are in meditation, that time their pranic body is very strong. Okay, very strong, very strong. Nothing will happen. If uh, a tiger comes, also nothing, because they are prepared mentally for all these problems. But somebody coming and disturbing you all of a sudden, calling you all of a sudden, it is they have not expected this. Okay, so unexpected things come all of a sudden in your life, and your anger bursts out because it is there right inside the mind, in the emotional body. It is there. I will not say suppressed, but it is out of focus. That's why when it comes in focus, all of a sudden it bursts out. And that is why, like in situations, pandemic situations, everybody is supposed to be very healthy, all of a sudden have panic attacks, and they are saying wearing masks, and not because it is necessary to wear masks, but because, oh my god, nothing should happen to me, huh? I'll go there. So it is through fear they are doing it. So doing through fear means the fear is there inside them. The supposed to be very healthy people have all of a sudden started becoming unhealthy. Why? Because of pandemic. They are not prepared for this pandemic. Social distancing. They have not prepared their mind for social distancing. So this buffer stops working all of a sudden because their intellect is not prepared for this. Only for what we have prepared for this pranic body, strong pranic body works. Otherwise, the pranic body fails because
That's
there is
very,
a direct connection of intellect with the physical body.
that's very true. We are seeing this throughout the whole globe, all over the
Yes.
world. Every country is affected, and people are affected tremendously by this.
And even if the temperature goes from 97 to 98, my God, I'm not affected, no? That thought will come inside. Somebody with a cancer patient comes near you. My God, I'm having a headache. It must be cancer or what? We start thinking about it. But if my pranic body is strong, that thought will not affect my physical body. But if my pranic body is not strong, it will affect my physical body. So it is a necessary concept, okay? The pranic body has to be strong to live fully so that you can actually do the actions. It means we think something and we need to do some actions. So for doing any action also, pranic body has to be strong. It has to be strong. Otherwise, we won't be able to do actions. So when we are ill or something, we'll say, oh my God, I can't speak. what to do. And I'm supposed to give a lecture and I'm feeling ill. That means my pranic body has gone down. Then what you will say? Okay, take a few breaths. Take 2, 3 breaths. Okay, so the prana has increased and now I can speak. You need prana to do any physical action. The prana is necessary, the physical prana is necessary. So that is why pranic body, it is very important to enhance the pranic body. Continuously, you have to keep on feeding the prana.
But actually, unfortunately, in the West, where I live and practice yoga and also teach yoga, pranayam is very highly misunderstood, and the power that is behind pranayama and the healing power, um, that is not understood very well, and people are disappointed when you start your pranayam sessions or you start discussing pranayam, because all they want to do is physical posture asanas.
Yeah, yeah.
For 1 hour,
Because
they
that
won't.
looks good, that feels good, no? That is tangible. The second most intangible is the pranayama. And then that is not, yoga is not, doesn't stop there, okay? We have to go to the subtler levels, to the still more intangible levels. That is what we work. To the energy level, from matter to energy. We have to go to the subtler energy part. So in healing, what we do, we say we repair the DNA. Just through normal asana practices, we cannot repair the DNA. But through healing breath practices, we can repair the DNA. And happy to say, there's ample research work going on this through breathing practices, breath practices, not pranayam, the healing breath practices, this breath work, what we call that practices. A lot of changes have happened in DNA. Of course, it is everything. Research goes in the West, and many times these research papers are not published and made popular for some reason or the other. But there are research in related books. We find these researches and what methodology they have used and all that. We can find this thing. But basically, through healing breath, it goes to a deeper level. Like initially, pranayam can go maybe up to the emotional body, maybe up to the lower mental body till controlling your thoughts. But pranayam is only about the control. It is not about changing. Okay. But rebirthing breath work, Swara Yoga practices will actually change everything. Because just diagnosing and understanding that such and such thing is inside me, that is not going to help to actually clear up the problem. We have to start acting there, acting on the subtle body. How to act on the subtle body? As we have said, breath can go anywhere. Breath, the prana in the breath, the 90% of what we are not able to understand about breath. The prana can reach anywhere. It doesn't have, even the vacuum, it can go through vacuum. There's no problem. Like sun rays reaches us, it is not limited. Okay. But sun rays have a limit of, it cannot pass through the earth. Prana can pass through the earth also. Then it doesn't have any barrier. It doesn't have any barrier, any resistance. So we work through breath, rebirthing breath work. It is just a continuous conscious breathing we do with a healing breath, which actually every person is doing in one way or the other without understanding it, without noticing it. Like in our deep sleep, when we are not dreaming, the no dream sleep, which is about, it can be from 10 minutes to 2 hours, anything for a healthy person. For some few healthy people, even 10 minutes of such sleep is okay. So just 10 minutes of that type of breathing. We breathe connected conscious breathing during that time. That is our natural, healthy, happy state. The swastha level, swastha, the arogya level. We are so happy with ourselves, whatever we have, okay? We are very happy. The happy condition, that breath is there. So as I told, we can work work with that type of breath and heal ourselves. Because we know that is the natural breath. And now my breath is going haphazard. Okay. So I purposefully start breathing that way and just remove all the barriers which is there inside me. That type of breath is there right inside me at the happiness level. Anandamay kosha. We are trying to disconnect ourselves with the Anandamay kosha. And if our Anandamay kosha, we are continuously connected with Anandamay kosha, whatsoever may happen, pandemic may happen, somebody from your family may be affected by a pandemic or any problem or accident or something, your happiness will remain undisturbed. If you will work everywhere and you will do more social work, because now you know, these people are not able to handle themselves, let me help them. So we get, and that is a continuous source of energy to us, the direct source, cosmic source. Like in pranayam, in the pranic body, that is not a direct source of energy. That is an indirect source of energy. The real source comes from the Anandamaya kosha. Then there's a disturbing thoughts, mind in between, which doesn't allow that force to come inside, okay? Because our life is like this, like a wave, you know. Then what can pass through everything? Only breath. But the subtler angles, subtler aspects of breath, okay? Pranayam is the still tangible aspect of the breath. And then comes the rebirthing breath work, still lesser tangible, but it can work. Okay, so when we start using it, whether we know about it or not, automatically things start healing. But in Swara Yoga, we have to learn about it. In rebirthing breathwork, just you start breathing and things will start happening. Very easy way of healing. Connected conscious breathing means usually what happens when we breathe in and breathe out, there is a small gap, which we call in yoga, we call it as kumbhak. It is not actually a kumbhak, we are doing it on purpose, it happens, okay? It is a natural way. But in rebirthing breath work, we don't keep that gap. It is a continuous flow of breath, continuous flow, like Bhasrika, similar to Bhasrika, but it is not Bhasrika, okay? And then we start breathing in that way, connected breathing and conscious breathing. In our sleep, we don't breathe consciously, it happens. Now we do it consciously for a reason, to heal some barriers, to heal some problems in the mind or in the body, anywhere, or in the emotions, or in the thoughts, or in the intellect, or we can work on our belief systems, which we usually don't. Wrong beliefs can be healed through breath, and a lot of things can be healed through rebirthing breath work. And Swara Yoga practice is the practice where we start understanding that every breath contains all the 5 elements. So which element is going on? Like if a fire element is going on in the breath, it may be left nostril or right nostril, anything. Usually we breathe only through one nostril at a time. And only in the Shiva Swara we call it. It is the middle part. It is called as both nostrils work at a time during the changeover. Handing over. Now I hand over this baton to left. The left hand over the baton to the right. Okay. Only during that time, they meet. And that is the meeting time where actually, even Anulom Vilom practice is meant for being in the middle path. Yes. And naturally, it is usually a 4 minutes, 4 minutes changeover back. And usually only the left or right. And every time in left also all the other 4 elements are there. Even in right, all the other 4 elements are there. And in the right, supposing in the right and the fire element is on, I will start fighting with everybody. Supposing you have come with a question, okay? And I start, uh, uh, I start saying, hey, you don't know even this much of what, and I go on, okay? First, I cut you. You have come with a question. It's so natural that you have come with a question means usually you don't know. Or maybe you have asked this question for somebody else, but it is basically about not knowing. So if you already don't know and I cut you and then I give you something, will you receive it? You
No.
won't be able to receive it. So it is a wrong way of giving, right? If a fire element is there. So usually we don't talk. We should not talk and converse with people and all when the fire element is on. Okay, so what to do when the fire element is going on? And it is natural. All the four elements are necessary elements. But what to do? Which action to do during the fire element? Which action to do during the water element? So if I want to converse with people, I want to give a lecture, maybe on Facebook or something, anything, just now. So usually what we did, even when the internet, every problem was there, we drink a sip of water, the water element starts working, we activate the water element, we activate the earth element. What we do? Now let me start. We do these things naturally, okay? We do these things naturally. But now because we are not aware, we can do it deliberately also to change something. So what I do this. All of a sudden the earth element starts coming. And in earth element and water element, you can connect with people like it. It is a very wonderful connector because water doesn't resist people, okay? It likes to bind. Even the earth is very loving, it loves to bind. But fire does not like to bind. Even the air element does not like to bind. Like we talk about children, I told such and such things to them. He heard from this year and it went away from this year. That is the time when my air element was on and I was speaking. So it is bound to happen. It will not stay there. So what action you want to take accordingly, but first you should understand what elements are going on, how to understand it. Yeah.
So that's what I was going to, that point I was going to make, that it's first of all, we have to be aware
Yeah.
that my fire element is on, or my water element is on. I mean, so only then, when I'm aware of that, that these emotions are taking hold of me, then only I'm able to go to the second step. Okay, what should I be doing about it? So
Yeah.
first of all, we have to be connected to the subtle, I think,
Certainly. Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the time, at all
And it
times.
is easy. Anybody can learn Swara Yoga. The basics of Swara Yoga, anybody can learn. Only thing, like a language, it takes time to learn. So we should be able to devote, I will say, time in the sense, uh, not like other workshops or like you have to watch for 1 hour or so. It is time for of awareness. You have to remember that you have to be aware of your breath and check whether checkpoints are given for the element. You have to keep on checking which element is going on during one action. Like I am doing this action, I have to check which element is going on. Okay. If something I don't remember something, usually we tell children, no, if you don't remember something, take a long breath on the exam desk, take a long breath, say Om, right? And all of a sudden that remembering starts happening. Whatever you have learned, you get connected. It has got disconnected for some time. Then you drink a sip of water, you take that pause, and then you can rectify it very easily. We have been doing all these practices, but with unawareness. Now, with awareness, we can change. So awareness is the key. But so the time, it is not a concept of time. It is 24/7. You can do that practice, but we have to keep on learning. At the back of the mind, continuously, it has to be. I have to check which element is going on, which element is going on, which element is going on. And once you start understanding and start associating your actions with elements, okay, this nostril, this element, this nostril, this element, okay, when this is happening, so you have to understand, okay, this is happening during this element, this is happening with me continuously for 10 times it has happened, 15 times, 100 times it has happened, the same thing. So we start believing, yes, this element is associated with this action. So can I change the element? Yes, now you can change just by drinking water. Or if you want a fire element, you have gone for fighting, okay? And you want to actually cut off something, okay? Then the fire element has to be on,
Surya Nadi.
right?
Surya Nadi, huh?
Not only Surya Nadi, Surya and Chandra Nadi are the basic level, but the fire elements are the real lagam, the real, what to say? I'm not getting the word for lagam.
Uh,
The reins
Flames, right? Yeah.
are in the hands of those elements. But how to change those elements? Changing those elements become difficult. Okay, but so first you have to understand, no? You have to learn which element, like 5 elements, no? First, the left and right is only the 2 reins are there. Now 5 reins are there, 5 horses are there. How to handle 5 horses? First, you are handling only 2 horses. Then you start handling 5 horses. Then you start handling 7 horses. Then you start handling, okay, it goes to subtler levels. 5 elements is the basic understanding level. Then you go to the Mana Buddhi Ahankar, which yoga has taught us, the 25 elements. So we can go to the subtler levels to all the 25 elements and 25 lagams, the 25 reins, how you can handle and you can live life to your best. Oh, this horse is going that way. No, it has to come out. So, but first you should know which horse is going, which horse is not aligning. So once you start understanding that, your life becomes beautiful. It's just a question of, but you have to learn. It's a long way of learning, but it's very interesting to learn. And it is interesting to understand, my God, every time I cry, this element is on.
Mhm.
Every time I get hurt, this element is on.
Hopefully, you will offer some workshops because I know you connect with people all over the globe through um, the internet and WhatsApp, and I've taken some WhatsApp workshops from you.
Now I'm taking a WhatsApp workshop on Swara Yoga also.
You
And
are?
yeah, WhatsApp workshop. It will be a WhatsApp workshop of 5 days.
Yeah, I will be there.
Yeah, yeah. And it is a wonderful practice. And for to all those whom I have taught, they they have started understanding. It took 12 long years to understand. And actually, I have started working with Swara Yoga only just for 2 years. So to understand, that's why you need a lot of patience to learn Swara Yoga. But at least whenever we get that patience, we'll learn it. Okay. But at least first understand the knowledge of it, get the knowledge of it, because we always start with knowledge, right? We cannot move directly to the subtler levels. So tangible levels. We start with tangible levels and then we go to subtler levels. So let me at least start with the tangible level. Let me gain the knowledge of it. Then I start thinking over it when I get time. And then slowly by and by we get into it. All of a sudden. Nobody forces us to do it. For Swara Yoga, nobody can force you. Nobody can force me to teach. Nobody, because the Swara is the Shiva. Okay. If Shiva wants, he will direct us. Shiva teaches everything. Because in Swara Yoga practice, let me tell you one thing. Uh, very few questions are entertained. That's the biggest thing, problem in Swara Yoga practice. Because we want spoon feeding. We are interested in spoon feeding, and Swara Yoga practice, spoon feeding is not allowed.
So, this Swara Yoga, I just want to let the audience know that this is not addressing the swaras of the music. The music,
No.
Sare Gama swaras. It's not. It's talking about the breath work, which is connected to your swaras.
Swara means breath. Swara means breath.
Right.
Yeah. And actually, even in music, the swara is breath. Sound of breath, we call as swara.
Right. Because that's how you produce it, right? You
Yeah.
produce
Yeah.
swaras.
So when the sound is right, it is a musical note.
Right.
Yeah. So through music also we can reach these levels. That's why in Indian music, ragas are allotted to time, ragas are allotted to personalities, ragas are allotted because we create that pattern of swaras around, that pattern of breath.
That
And we start singing that, yeah.
energy is created through those combinations of swaras,
Yes,
and it's connected to the time of the day, the
yeah. Energy, energy,
energy of the universe.
yeah.
Very well. That was really wonderful information you have provided our audience. Some people online are saying that they are very interested in your Swara yoga workshop. I'm definitely interested. Um, so you gave us lots of information, and I'm just going to quickly uh, share my screen to go over a couple of points. So you want to say one sentence about these?
Yeah, it can transform, create, heal. It can also destroy or create illness. If wrongly done, it can create problems. If wrong breath can create problems. And we are here to rectify the breath. We can just rectify it.
Breath is the link between body, emotions, mind, intellect, and soul. And
Yeah.
you
So, and
demonstrate.
everything is connected. And we believe that the intellect affects the mind, intellect affects the emotions, intellect affects the breath, intellect affects the body. And who is the real driver? The soul, the Atma.
Breath is really powerful because it can break all barriers
Yeah.
and resistance.
There's no barriers. Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik, and Adi Atmic, all types of problems it can heal. Breath can heal all types of problems.
You talked about pranayam,
Yeah.
and you talked about the rebirthing breath work, which needs to be practiced with the guru. You
Yes.
can do it all.
Rebirthing breathwork is a type of Kriya only, but it is a simpler Kriya than breath. The ones taught by Kriya yogis.
Hmm.
Yeah. It is a simpler Kriya. We can do it daily.
And then last,
Yeah.
yoga.
This is Swara Yoga, learning the language of breath, the elemental language. We start with the elements and then we move to the other levels also. How to understand. And then how to change.
So it seems there is a lot of interest in your workshops. So I will share your information again on the slide. Here are all the numbers listed,
Yeah.
and the website is listed. You can go there, and I think you might have some articles or videos there that people can watch on
Yeah.
your.
On website also and on our FB page, FB group. I'm more active on FB group than my page. And we have a YouTube channel also. You can connect there. And for everyone who would like to connect uh, on this number which is given, okay? If I don't pick up, don't be angry. many times, many times my phone is on silent or in some other room and I don't hear it or something like that. So just WhatsApp, send a message, I'll reply. Okay.
And we
So
also have a time difference, so we people have to be cognizant of that. But I would like to once again thank you from the bottom of my
yeah.
heart, Dr.
Same here, same feelings here. I've
Uh,
just loved to converse with you and talk with people who are listening now and who will be listening later. And so much thanks to you because this was a wonderful opportunity for me to speak.
I could see that your bliss body was, you know, on. Your Anandamaya Kosha was, shining through.
Thank you.
I could feel it.
Yeah.
So, should we do the concluding prayer?
Yes, Asatoma. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you once again,
Hari Om. Thank you.
Manjari. Until we meet
Yes.
next time. Thank you. Shubham Bhavatu.
Sure. Shubham Bhavatu. Shubham Bhavatu.
And be safe.
Yes.
Peace be with you.